It was really a big deal. But let me tell you a real pivotal moment. And it was just an amazing thing. You know, I read a lot and I love reading business books. Kay Lynn loves to read business books. We trade books all the time. And, you know, and so I was reading, actually, my wife got me to go on a trip to Italy, and I was on this train from Venice to Florence. And so what am I going to do while I'm on the train? I had to, you know, find something to read. So I actually picked up an article from FP Transitions. I stuck it in my binder before I left. I go, you know, I'll find some time to read this thing. This was a very pivotal moment, Suzanne. I just really want to tell the story because it really changed my life. So wow. I picked up the article and I still have it. I found it. I looked in my desk from 10 years ago and I found it. I have the original.
Yeah, I love that.
This is unbelievable.
I know, because this just came up in a conversation not too long ago. I'd forgotten all about this, but it came up in a conversation. And so yesterday I went digging through on my desk and old folders and I found the article from 10 years ago. And here's the article. You know, the article is from FP Transitions, Building a Business of Enduring and Transferable Value. That was the title. And I thought, okay, what's in this article? So I flip it open and there's three categories of types of businesses. Remember, this is 10 years ago, okay? So figure number one was, it's called the Eat What You Kill model, and it's a life raft. So think of a life raft out in an ocean, right? And you're as an advisor, you're in this life, you got a life raft, you got a paddle, you can do some things, you can maneuver around, but that's one type of business that you can build. And a lot of independent advisors, that's what they do. They've got their own life raft, they're in the ocean, they're out there fishing and they're getting fresh water when it rains, and they're kind of on their own, right? The second type of model that was in this article was the silo-based model. And the silo-based model, think of it like a flotilla. So think of these advisors out there in the ocean and they're figuring things out and trying to figure out how to build their business. And then they're passing each other by and they're thinking about those orange rafts out there and they're waving at each other. And then all of a sudden, a few of them come together and they tie their ropes together. Now they have a flotilla. And this is a different kind of model. This is the silo-based model, but this is what people were doing as advisors. They were saying, hey, it's good that you're here. Hey, we're tied together. Hey, you know, maybe there's in our group, there's somebody that's pretty good at navigation. Let's get him the compass and let him figure out where we should go from here. Hey, there's some really strong guys sitting in the back. Why don't we give them the paddles to paddle for us? And hey, there's some people here with some strategy and some thought and knows how to operate things. Why don't we give them some responsibility? So advisors started to come together, think about like a flotilla, and they were making better progress together like that than what they were doing on their own, floating around out there, trying to take on everything and be everything. But that was the second type of business model. There was a third type of business model. So I'm on a train going from Florence to Venice, and I'm reading through this article. I get to the third model, and the third model is an equity-centric model. This is a ship. It's not a raft. It's a ship. It's a ship. And yeah, and it's, you know, with that model, it's where you're bringing people together. There's one common company. There's one source of equity. That equity is being shared among all the people in the firm. We have common vision, common alignment, different from the flotilla. If they decide they want to cut ship, they just cut the ropes and they go start doing their own thing again. And the problem with them, the way they were as a flotilla, they always kept doing things the way they wanted to do things. Once you advance to the ensemble practice, it's one company, it's one vision, it's one equity. And that's when you're building a practice of enduring value and transferable value. So as I'm reading this article, I jump up, I run across, I'm sitting across from my wife on this train. I go, I gotta share something with you. Look at this business model, this ensemble practice. I know how to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to build this practice. And really it was since then and 10 years ago that we've had tremendous growth with Merit. You know, as you mentioned today, just under 300 people, 17 billion. And Suzanne, we're just getting started. I mean, it's exciting to what this journey. It's really been phenomenal.
It really is. First of all, you said so many interesting things there. That article is what a great kind of reminder of how you got to where you are. And we were, talking before the webinar started about just how like there's such great bits of education out there, including hopefully this webinar, to help advisors really think about what they want to be doing, whether it's, staying where they are, selling and staying, or transitioning, right? There are just so many options, and I love that you still kept that article, and that's such an important piece of the history of Merit, especially of like where you came from and where you're going now.